You know the saying, man plans, God laughs? In my case, I plan, my body says, you're an idiot, and your plans aren't going to happen. I know that's a really weird beginning, but this is going to be my finale for Panning Punk. Before we get into all of the goodness that is this project, I am going to ask you to please do all of the things. And hopefully you all remember what they are because you know I never do. So let's talk about the business end of this project. This was created by Allie, and she is Wonder in Alleyland. She did this in collaboration with the Fantastic Ladies group on Facebook. You know I'm going to have Allie linked. You know I'm going to have the Fantastic Ladies linked. This is a project that started January 1st of this year and runs through December 31st. So hopefully that's when you're actually seeing this. Like I said, my plans go awry quite frequently. It's supposed to have monthly updates. It was 4 to 6 prompts of the 20 that she gave us originally. She picked all of these great punk songs from all these different eras and all these different bands, gave us a suggestion for a product. It's an awesome project. She did an amazing job. And she has let me get away with this whole time if you followed this journey. If not, check out the playlist. Hours of entertainment. Because I ramble a lot and I talk a lot about punk bands. She has let me get away with this and has never called me on the carpet for it. So for that, I am truly grateful, not only for the creation of the project, but for letting me to just really run away with this and have a good time with it. Traditionally, what I do is I pick a band, an era, something to focus on, and I kind of do this like history of or give you all these weird facts. Now, my intention was because I started with Husker Du, which I have a personal connection there, but that is a hometown band for me. I wanted to end with the Replacements. Well, November didn't work for me very well, and so I never really got to do anything on the Replacements. We are going to talk about them a little bit, but I'm not doing this in the traditional way that I would simply because I'm not going to be picking any more prompts, so I'm not going to be, throwing songs out there and all that kind of stuff. I wanted to bookend the project that way simply because of those being the hometown bands, things that I grew up with and around. And a lot of people don't really even think the Replacements are punk. Now, did they stay punk? No. But like the Beastie Boys, they actually started as a punk band. In a way, they started as a band of young punks. I mean, they were just kids and they were loud, they were fast playing, they were crazy and a lot of fun and a lot of really good music came out of that. Over time, things morphed as they do. I mean, people grow and change and you explore new things, you get better with your instruments, things like that. So they didn't stay punk. And this one is a little bit of a different one for me. Husker Du, because of my dad's involvement, was always part of my life. My dad taking me to see Rock and Roll High School. The Ramones have always been a part of my life. And I am of an age where I was around for the emergence of the punk scene, although some of it I'm too young to remember. The Replacements is one of those categories that I was too young to appreciate. I fully remember because I remember my dad coming home and giving me a cassette of the Replacements. I think it was, I don't even know if it was a bootleg album or what it was, but it was the SH blank T Hits the Fans. And it was loud and noisy and overwhelming in a lot of ways. And at that point, I was listening to a little bit more mainstream. Now, when the album Tim came out, I fell in love. I mean, that one for me is probably their greatest album. But as I got older, I started to have an appreciation for a lot of their earlier stuff too. So when I say that they started as punk, I am talking about things that really, there's a song that they did about City Center in Minnesota. One of their songs is called Buck Hill. One of the coolest songs, which I do really love, is called Kids Don't Follow. Kids Won't Follow? Kids Don't Follow. Now I can't remember. The intro of it, it has to be from a party. It has to be something that someone recorded because it is the Minneapolis Police. And this is the Minneapolis Police. The party's over. If you just pack up and go home, no one will get in trouble, that whole thing. And there was just such a raw energy to them. Now, they became known in the early days, they became known as kind of being almost like the competition on the punk scene in Minneapolis. They had a really strong hardcore following, and a lot of their followers were young like they were. They weren't necessarily bar age. First Ave used to do a lot of all ages shows, so that's where a lot of people got to see them. Now they also did 21 and up shows, so there was an older crowd, at least of drinking age. I think maybe it was 18 plus at that point. I don't remember. Our Minnesota drinking laws are very strange, and people were grandfathered in at different times. All of it's beyond me. I was too young. So there is a really good history of them being a punk band. Now they morphed into a lot more mainstream. They did have songs that got radio play. The theme song from the movie Can't Hardly Wait. Wow, my brain is blanking, you guys. That is one of their really well-known songs, but they did put out an album. Well, I don't know if they did necessarily. In 2006, there was an album release that was along the lines of "We Don't Know How We Got Here" type of thing, but it's a greatest hits album, and it does include a lot of their early stuff, and it's got some of my absolutely top 5 favorite songs of all time by the Replacements on there. It's got Unsatisfied. It's got Answering Machine. And I'm forgetting the third one. But it's also got the stuff that they're really well known for. Their song Bastards of Young is on that. But that was also included on a compilation box set called Left of the Dial. And you'll hear me say occasionally that I am always left of the dial. That's where I take that from. And that is this really cool box set that came out at this point decades ago, you guys. But that was the song that was included on it. There's a great, if you can ever find it on CD, there is a great First Avenue CD. It's all the different bands that play there, and it's live versions of the songs from different recordings that were done over time there. And one of the Replacement songs is on that, along with like The Suburbs and oh man, I can't even think of all. It's not all punk, but there's just all these great local bands. So if you're interested in local music at any point, if you see something like that, grab it. I grab local music different places that I go to just because I like hearing some of the homegrown bands and some of the ones that maybe I wouldn't catch just from listening to the radio or whatnot. I hope you grabbed your beverage because this is going to be just as long as all my other ones, even without adding stuff into it. Okay, so I think I never finished explaining the stupid idea of okay. The hashtag for this project was #PanningPunk because I didn't tell you that. This was supposed to be monthly updated. We were allowed to like add some of our own songs. Obviously, as I've been going on and on, I did that with every episode. I grabbed from other people that had done that. I took one of Jaylon's. I took one of Charity's when she was doing videos. Oh Lordy, who all I've tried to take from pretty much everybody that I came across that was adding their own stuff to it. I think I've got Anne Elizabeth Murray in there. I mean, I know there's several people, and if you go through the description boxes, I always listed whoever I took inspiration from, or borrowed from, or copied, or paid homage. However you want to say that one. I don't even know how to actually phrase it. I just wanted to include everybody because everybody had such great ideas. So my November update was supposed to be the Replacements. I was going to talk a little bit about the guys. They're known for their antics. Paul Westerberg is now mostly known as a recluse. You've got the Stinson brothers. I have been fortunate enough to see Tommy Stinson live as an adult. He was part of the band that Axl Rose was going on tour with when Slash and Axl were doing separate tours. Slash was with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, which is where you know my love of Todd Kearns comes from. And then Axl had his own band, which included the guy from 6 a.m., DJ Oshbach, Richard Fortus, who has gone on tour with the Thin Lizzy band reformulated. Tommy Stinson was out there playing, which is the only time I've ever seen him as an adult. But I mean, the band he put together was phenomenal. I actually got to see Tommy Stinson, which was kind of like a bucket list item for someone like me. His older brother, Bob, who brought him into the band, did pass away. I don't think I've ever made a secret of all of my videos include things that probably should have trigger warnings. We're talking about sex, drugs, and rock and roll a lot of times. Bob had a very long history of, they called him the lunatic guitarist. He was known to be in and out of institutions. They had a very troubled home life, which is the reason he brought his younger brother in, is because they had been different places and it wasn't good and it was never going to lead them anywhere good. So getting into the band was a salvation. And Bob did have addiction issues. He passed away at the age of 35 and it was mistakenly reported, because this is not fact. He did not overdose. Now, his issue, I've got fur on my nose, so that's why I keep scratching my nose. His issues were part of the reason that he did leave the band. But when he passed, he was clean. He actually did have organ failure. And so a lot of it is, of course, attributed to all of the things that he had done to himself in his life that caused that. But it was not what it was reported initially to be. It was not what everybody just kind of expected or suspected from him. And I think that's something that's kind of important to make clear, because he really was trying to pull things together, was, trying to live a normal life after having had this crazy life. Now, Tommy stayed in the music business, obviously, since I saw him within the last decade, and has been with different bands and played and whatnot. Paul has done, talk about antics. The most famous story that I know of, and please, if there's children, they should never be watching these videos from me. The most famous story I ever heard about Paul Westerberg was somebody was talking and they said, when did you see him play? Did he throw up while he was on stage that time? Because he was literally so drunk a lot of the times that it was gibberish. I mean, a lot of the music was kind of gibberish anyway, but he had his own issues and would become so intoxicated that he was not even able to function, and did this very publicly. I mean, this was on stage, you guys, so didn't go great. I don't know a lot about Chris Mars. Aside from that, he is sometimes compared to Keith Moon. He's kind of one of the more low-key members, I think, of the band, at least for me, from the different things I've read. I have several books. Actually, one of the ones that I am still reading is this one. And with this one, it took years and years and years to do, and it does actually get a lot of its meat from stuff that Paul Westerberg says. It is based on interviews with him, and it is approved by him and the whole thing. And then there's a lot in there too from Tommy. Now, that being said, does it make it more of an official biography of these guys? I don't know. But Paul is famously reclusive. He did write a couple of things. When they did that Best Of album, there were a couple new songs on there, which was kind of interesting. His stuff right now is definitely more radio friendly than it was way back in the day. But if you're looking for some good old school punk, the Mats are something you might want to check out. I have no idea where I was originally going to go with this when I was going to do this in November, and how far am I into this? Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm 15 minutes in and I haven't talked really about the project. So that is basically what I would have done if I had actually done an episode on them. I just wanted to highlight them, and I'm going to move into the actual project. Now, I didn't ever finish introducing it. It was supposed to be monthly updates. I missed November. We were supposed to be doing this rolling style. We were allowed to add our own. We could have done the prompts more than once with a new product. All kinds of stuff. Allie left us pretty well open, and it really has been a fabulous project, and I'm very sad that it's ending. If it were up to me, this would go on forever, because I'm sure there are many more punk bands that I could find to talk about incessantly. But as all good things must come to an end, so must this. So let's talk about what I had in the project and for whom. From August, I had in Fall Out Boy, She's My Winona, a product that has your heart and soul forever, and this was from Allie's list. This is another band that I absolutely love and would have gladly done an entire episode on, but alas. So I brought in the Mary Kay Spun Silk Eyeshadow. It's this little baby pan. Okay, it is crumbling beyond all belief. So I'm going to insert a picture hopefully somewhere, because I don't know if you guys can even see what a mess I've got going on in here. There's very little left. And like I said, hopefully I popped the picture up there, or I'm doing it now, whatever. I put that into finish. When I started, that was a 3.3 gram item. It is now 1.9. And I have it almost finished, you guys. I've got literally less than a third of that left. I would say probably closer to a quarter, but it's kind of crumbly, so it's a little hard to tell. So I didn't complete the goal exactly, but I will continue and I will finish this off. Not by the end of the year, obviously, but you will see that in my empties coming up soon. Now, I did get 42 uses out of that I remembered to track, so that's pretty good. The next thing that I had in was Good Charlotte's I Don't Want to Be in Love, a product you can use for multiple things or multiple ways. I brought in the Laura Geller Baked Highlighter in French Vanilla. This is my old lady trick that I do here and kind of clean up the edge with. And I actually have a little bit underneath here today too because, okay, you can see the circles are dark. They always are, even with color corrector and concealer. But this got a little out of hand and I needed to lighten up a little bit under that eye. So this is the highlighter. And if you can see that I've actually kind of got this whole side flat, it's kind of dipped down because of the way that I use it with the sponge tip. Of course, I don't have a wipe here with me, but that's what this looks like. Okay, so it's not reflective, it's not shiny, it's not anything, but it's really good for lightening. It just lightens things up. So that I had put it, of course. I had put this in for 40 uses. I actually got 56 on it. I just kept keeping track and kept using it because I use it almost every single day. So that is a completed goal. Now the next thing I had in was the MC5. And that was Miss X, Something Sensual. I had brought in a MAC, which one are these? These are the Love Me lipsticks, and I brought in under the covers. This is, I don't know if you can tell, it's a really pretty pink metallic, and I don't think that shows well with my lighting. But I brought this in for 5 uses, meaning 5 days that I wore it, including reapplications. And I did get that. So this is a goal met. And I love these lipsticks, you guys. I don't even know how many of them I have. I know I bought 4, but then I think I found a couple more. It seems to be the formula I like best. So that is a completed prompt. Then we have the Clash. You can't have punk without having the Clash. You guys know this. Should I stay or should I go? An item you're not sure if you want to declutter. And I brought in the Rare Beauty. This is the Magnetic Spirit palette. This is the one that does not look like any of the others because they now have that whiter, I don't know, that they have different packaging, they have different shapes. It's an all, shiny. It's an all shimmer palette. And my goal with this was to use each of these shades twice. And I did do that. I have my little post-it notes on it to make sure. Very reflective. And I've discovered that, you know what? I really do love this. There's some great colors in here. Why not? Let's just make a mess. We're going to give you the first 3. They're pretty. They are so pretty. And they're not crazy. Like, even the purple isn't crazy. And this one, I don't know if you're getting it, but it's this beautiful, bright baby pink. It is lovely. So, I've discovered this again. I love it. I think this is the only Rare Beauty eyeshadow I even own. And I'm glad I have it. I just need to keep it someplace where I remember to use it more often. Because it's not like it's a cohesive color story to like put a look together. It has to go with other things as a companion. So that's where I tend to forget that I have it. Then we have the Clash's London Calling. For that, I did it as a dethroned item. And I brought in a primer. I love my primers. I brought in the NYX Angel Veil. I had it in one of those white toothpaste tubes. And then when I take it out, I smoosh the crap out of the very end. And you can, I mean, I bent the packaging to pieces. I didn't cut it open, but trust me, there wouldn't be enough left in here for me to even get another use out of. This is completely done. So this was the Angel Veil primer, and it got dethroned because I really love the Smashbox photo finish. At one point, that was a little bit gritty, and I thought, well, I don't know why. I've never had it do that before. I just kept using it anyway. It didn't give me any kind of reaction. And then by the end of it, it wasn't gritty anymore. So I don't know what the deal was with that, but this is a lovely drugstore primer. It's expensive for drugstore. I think primers are expensive, but it's not Smashbox price. And I still like this primer, but it's going to be going in the empties. Then we brought in the Offspring. I love the Offspring. So for this one, I brought in The Kids Aren't All Right. Brought it in as a freebie. And I had this little tiny Maracuja Juicy Lip in Rose by Tarte. And it's this cute little thing that is a gigantic hot mess. Okay, you guys, this is disgusting. This thing looks gross. It looks melty and nasty. It's all over the outside of the tube. I couldn't actually, yuck, get any more out of it. It just was sloppy. And honestly, it kind of felt like it applied that way. I'm not a huge fan. I know. Everybody's unsubscribing. How could I not love this? It just didn't do it for me. So it's a completed prompt. I didn't love the product, which is actually a good thing because it saved me money because then I didn't buy any of them. So maybe it's the wrong kind. Maybe it's something different. I don't know. I've heard Kelly Gooch say that the click up ones, there's a problem. Sometimes they don't keep clicking up. That one was just so melt. It went on thick feeling. It didn't feel thick once it was on, but it was just a hot mess to deal with. So yeah, blah. Then I also brought in the Offspring song, You're Gonna Go Far, Kid. And I did it for the lyric, with 1,000 lies and a good disguise. So I brought it in as a dupe for that. I brought in the Alter Ego Harmony palette, which is a dupe for Natasha Denona's Retro palette, which is one of my favorites. I did it No Pan Left Behind, and I completed that goal. And you're not seeing how very pretty pink a lot of these shades really are. They look very tan from what I'm seeing as I'm filming this. But this does have beautiful pinks and burgundies. I don't have an issue with Alter Ego and their formulas. And I mean, they're based on being a dupe company. I know that's problematic for some people. For me, it's also cost effective. I can't have the Natasha Denona middies in both places, and I don't want to always carry them back and forth. That gives me all of the color story that I love, and it's something that I'm able to afford. So I do have the Natasha Denona also. I've never had them side by side to compare formulas or anything like that, but like I said, for me, it gives me what I want, and I can get the same look no matter which palette I'm using. That's my take on it. So then the final song that I brought in from the Offspring, the last prompt that I had in this project, was once again an Offspring song. That was what I did October on. And Gone Away is my all-time favorite Offspring song. It is not the most punk of their catalog by any stretch. And you know that they have new songs out, right? Did I mention that? I think I mentioned that. If I hadn't, they're still working on new material. And I think, do they have an album releasing or did it just release? I don't know. But they're out there creating still. So if you're a fan, keep your eye out. I brought in the song Gone Away for the lyric, Black Roses and Hail Marys can't bring back what's taken from me. Which to me is just such an impactful line. That one always hits. I feel that. I have a visceral reaction when I hear that part of the song. Music touches me probably more than other things do. Like TV shows generally don't get to me. Books will, but music always does. And I have the copacetic single in Black Roses. You knew what I was going to do with it. I mean, it's not like it's a shocker. I only put this in because it was October for 5 uses. This is a sparkly. Can you see sparkly? There are different color reflex in the sparkles that I know are not showing up on camera. But can you see them on my hand? No? Nope. Can't do it, guys. Sorry. Oh, I got a lot of that on my hand. Or on my finger. I'm messy. So I got my 5 uses. That is a completed prompt. So all said and done, I don't do... Danny's going to laugh at me. I don't do makeup accounting. I don't necessarily keep track of how many different things I've rolled through this project. I know it has been several. I do a lot of usage goals because I wanted to bring in a lot of things. I wanted to bring in a lot of songs. I wanted to bring in a lot of bands. And I wanted to get to Allie's list too. I wanted to make sure I was hitting those prompts because she has great ones. Like I said, She made a brilliant project. And it sparked my creativity, which I absolutely love when anyone lets me go on tangents about music. So I don't know how many things I've gone through, but overall, even though I did not complete the spun silk eyeshadow, I will. This has been a very successful project for me. I have completed several items. I have gotten to use several more. I've gotten to try things out. I've gotten to talk to all of you for, good Lord, way too long. So, once again, thank you to Allie. Thank you to the fantastic ladies. I have loved every second of this. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope that in some of my ramblings, you may have discovered something new, a new song, a new band, learned something you didn't know, discovered a new era. Whatever it may be, I hope it has brought you joy. So, with that said, I appreciate your time and your patience and your tolerance for the crazy train going all over the place, which, hey, maybe someone will put together a metal one for me and then I can really go off the rails. Until next time, everybody, hope you're all safe and well. See ya. Bye.